The content of this video, as well as the thoughts, views, and opinions expressed herein, belong to the presenter and do not necessarily reflect the views of Brigham Young University or the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Welcome to our 6-part series on financial planning for senior missions. I'm Alex Call, and my colleague Alec Johnson and I will be teaching this series, each presenting on 3 topics. A little about us. We are both certified financial planners working at Peterson Wealth Advisors, a financial planning firm that specializes in retirement income planning based in Orem, Utah. Our firm works with over 600 households, many of which are members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. As such, we have helped hundreds of retirees prepare for their senior missions. Because of this, we have gained practical knowledge and insights on the financial aspects of serving a mission. In this series, we'll share our expertise as you consider and prepare for serving a senior mission. Before we get into it though, I want to have a quick disclaimer that we will actually have on all of our presentations. The information provided in this video does not and is not intended to constitute legal advice. Instead, all information, content, and materials available are for general informational purposes only. Also, because we are based out of the United States, many of the strategies and information are going to be based off of the U.S. tax laws. So, as you're preparing to serve a mission, there's probably going to be lots of questions you're thinking of, both spiritual and temporal. Because we're financial advisors, we're going to focus on the temporal questions you may be asking yourself. Some of the most common questions we hear are things like, can I afford to go on a senior mission? How does health insurance work while on a senior mission? Should I claim Social Security before or after serving? How should my money be invested while I'm gone? Are there tax strategies to implement while serving? And what legal documents should I have in place before I serve? We will answer all of these questions and more with one overarching goal in mind. That goal is that you serve Him with all your heart, might, mind, and strength. No one wants to be bothered or constantly be worrying about their investments and finances while serving a mission. At the same time, you can't simply neglect your finances for a couple of years either. Income has to be managed, investments have to be monitored, and taxes still have to be paid. So the goal of this series is to help you be able to serve Him with all your heart, might, mind, and strength while you're on your mission by limiting the distractions of finances during your mission. Here is a list of the different topics we will cover in each presentation. Today, we're going to be focusing on the costs of serving, including health insurance. So a lot of retirees, or soon-to-be retirees that I have met with, have the mindset that serving a senior mission will be an expensive endeavor, far above their normal expenses in retirement. I've met with couples where when I ask them, what do you want to do in retirement? One of the first things they say is, we'd love to serve a senior mission, but we don't think we can afford it. So we're not planning on going. My hope is that if you take away one thing during this presentation, it's that senior missions are more affordable than you think, and that finances should not get in the way of serving a senior mission. In fact, for many people that I have met, serving a mission can be less expensive than staying home. So, what is the actual cost of serving a senior mission? Well, unlike serving a mission as a young man or woman, the cost of serving a senior mission can vary greatly depending on where you serve. For example, serving in the Philippines is as low as $2,000 a month, while serving in England can be upwards to $5,000 a month, with everything in between. I like to break it down into 3 different types of costs you'll incur. First, being those upfront one-time costs. Next, the obligations you still have at home even while you're serving. And lastly, the monthly costs you will have while serving a mission. Let's talk about the upfront costs first. Many people think of these upfront costs as travel. So let's go ahead and get into that. Travel is actually paid by the church if you serve within the United States, regardless of your length of service, or if you serve outside the country between 18 to 23 months. If you're assigned a 6 or 12-month mission outside your resident country, you are expected to pay your travel to and from your mission. However, if you extend while you're out there to an 18 to 23-month mission during your service, the church will pay for your travel home. Also, if you drive your own vehicle to and from your mission, you will receive a per diem allowance based on the travel distance. This allowance provides for vehicle operating costs, lodging, and meals. The travel office at the MTC will provide a check for your travel expenses while you're going through orientation. If you are a single sister and are planning on driving more than 500 miles to your missionary assignment, the church will pay for driving a companion to accompany you. The church will pay for your companion's travel expenses to the mission and their flight back home. And then at the completion of your mission, the church will pay to fly a driving companion to your mission to accompany you home, as well as all of their travel expenses. Health is another big upfront cost. Initial healthcare checks are essential to ensure you're prepared for your mission. And if your mission takes you abroad, immunizations may be required, depending on where you serve. In addition, you want to ensure that any medical procedures or surgeries are completed well ahead of your senior mission to allow you plenty of time to recover. Lastly, your upfront costs include your wardrobe. Preparing your mission wardrobe can be tailored to your budget. Some prefer to buy a complete new set of suits and dresses, while others use a combination of their existing wardrobe with a few specific pieces, or a few specific mission pieces. For instance, one of my clients was called to serve in Russia. They bought the heavy coats and all the winter accessories that they would need for those cold winters. Then, at the last minute, their call changed and they were sent to Africa. Needless to say, they left the heavy winter coats at home. The next expense or category are these home obligations, because even while you're away on your mission, some financial responsibilities remain at home. Housing being a big one. Even if you don't have a mortgage, you still need to pay for things like maintenance, utilities, insurance, and property taxes. If you have any debts, you will need to have a plan in place to manage these debts in your absence. With that, it's important to note that you don't have to be debt-free either to serve a mission. And don't forget to consider other commitments you may have as well, such as educational expenses for your kids, helping your parents with healthcare costs, or any additional family obligations you may have. And so this leads us to the last one, which is what you will be responsible for paying on that monthly basis on your mission. This is broken down into really 4 different categories that we'll talk much more about. Housing, your personal expenses like food and groceries, transportation on your mission, and health insurance. The church has created a senior missionary opportunity website that has a search feature that allows you to search through the senior mission opportunities that are available. This website breaks down the essential costs of each of these categories, giving you a pretty good estimate of what your mission will cost when you serve. This website allows you to filter through all senior missionary opportunities throughout the world. You then select your preferences to be included when you submit your mission papers. Let's go ahead and look at that website. So when you first pull up the website, you can see on the left-hand side of the screen some of the search filters available to help you narrow down your search. You can sort by how critical of a priority the position is, whether you'll be serving as a couple or a single sister, the length of service, the estimated monthly cost, and even the country you'd like to serve in. There are other advanced filters you can choose, things like your language, medical care required, and assignment types. You can also specify if the estimated cost includes health insurance or not. For example, on the screen, I am showing 3 different missions in the U.S. At the top, you will see a Spanish-speaking member leader support position in Flagstaff, Arizona, then a Spanish-speaking member leader support position in Tempe, Arizona, and finally, at the bottom, an English-speaking member and leader support mission in Arcadia, California. Then, if you look at the top right-hand corner of every mission, you can see that the estimated cost for these missions hover around $3,400 a month. And this is including health insurance. Remember, this is an estimate. We have seen some senior missionaries spend more and some spend less than this estimated cost. I want to show you another example, this one with missions outside the United States. On the screen, we have missionary opportunities in the Dominican Republic, Indonesia, and England. When we look at the right-hand side to compare the costs in green, you can see that the costs, including health insurance, vary quite a bit. During the time I spent on the website, I found the least expensive estimated cost for a couple to be about $1,900 a month, and the most expensive to be $5,200 a month. However, most hover between that $2,500 and $4,000 a month, and that is including health insurance. These same opportunities are available for senior sisters as well. The church estimates the cost to be around 80% of the listed cost that you see here for senior sisters. This function on the church's website is really just to let you know what is available when you submit your application. You can add multiple preferred opportunities that may interest you. Now, does this mean you can choose where you serve? No, it does not. However, church leaders responsible for assigning you your mission call will see your preference as they determine your assignment. But ultimately, as we know, the Lord calls you where you will serve. If we look at the bottom left and click on additional details in blue, it breaks down the costs even further. Here, we're looking at the additional details for the England Leeds mission. So I served in Manchester, England. I tried to find one for an opportunity in Manchester, but there weren't any available. So we'll use Leeds instead. In the top right corner, the estimated cost per month is $4,215 per month. These costs are then broken down further into your housing, personal, transportation, and insurance costs. I want to talk briefly about each one. So housing, this is the portion of a senior mission that is paid for through the ward and is capped at $1,400 per month. Now, a little bit of a forecast here for our tax strategy presentation that Alec will be going through. Because this expense is paid to the church, this $1,400 can be tax deductible, which means this is the portion of your senior mission that is eligible to be paid for through a qualified charitable distribution or a donor-advised fund. 2 strategies that Alec will talk about. Next, we have your personal costs. For the England Leeds mission, it's estimated that a couple would spend around $1,700 each month on personal care, including food, clothing, etc. As you can imagine, England is going to be on the more expensive side. The transport, this expense refers to the cost of getting around your mission area, such as filling up your car with gas or if you need a bus pass. This does not refer to the cost of transportation to and from your mission, as we discussed earlier. Then we have insurance. Here it is listed that insurance for a senior couple is $730 a month. So that leads to the next question of how does health insurance work on your mission? So, senior missionaries have the opportunity to get health insurance coverage through Deseret Mutual Benefit Administrators, or DMBA. This insurance is called the Senior Service Medical Plan, or the SSMP. It's provided by Aetna. Here are a few things to note. As of January 2024, the premium is $365 per person per month. So for a single sister, that's your monthly cost. For a senior couple, you can expect to pay twice that, or $730 per month. As far as the deductible, this changes depending on where you serve. For those from the United States, serving in the United States, you have an annual deductible of $2,000 a year. And those from the United States serving international, you are going to have a deductible of $0. And for those serving stateside, once the deductible is met, there is an 80-20 split up to the out-of-pocket maximum of $3,000 per person. Two other things to note about health insurance. One is that minors are not covered on the Senior Service Medical Plan. So for those of you who have kids under the age of 26 and are still on your insurance, they will not be covered on the Senior Service Medical Plan. They would have to jump off and get their own insurance. Also, this does not include dental coverage, but it does include basic vision. So now knowing that you have the Senior Service Medical Plan as an option, how do you know when you'll use the Senior Service Medical Plan versus a different type of insurance? Well, the type of health insurance coverage you have on your senior mission really depends on where you serve in the U.S. or outside of the U.S. and how old you are. Is it before you're on Medicare at age 65 or after you're on Medicare? This chart shows that if you are serving in the U.S. and you're under age 65, then you have the option to be on the Senior Service Medical Plan or the Marketplace, whichever works best for you. And if you are under 65 while serving outside the United States, you will be on the church's insurance, the Senior Service Medical Plan. If you are serving in the U.S. over age 65 and on Medicare, you will remain on Medicare. However, Medicare does not provide coverage outside of the United States. So, if you are serving outside the U.S., you will be on the Senior Service Medical Plan. If this is the case, you will actually keep your Medicare Part A, but to help you avoid paying your Medicare Part B premiums, you have the option to disenroll from Medicare Part B while you are serving on your senior service, while you are serving and on the Senior Service Medical Plan. The Church Missionary Department will walk you through how to disenroll from Part B before your mission and re-enroll after your mission. If you have a supplement plan, you will need to contact them and they will let you know if disenrolling during your mission is possible and how to go about doing it. Ultimately, the church wants to make sure that you have adequate insurance. If you do, then the Senior Service Medical Plan may not be necessary. But if you don't, then the Senior Service Medical Plan is what the church offers. So for people looking to serve a mission before the age of 65, before they enroll in Medicare, having the option of being on the church's insurance offers some unique planning opportunities. I'd like to share a story about a client, a single sister who wisely saved for retirement with the goal to serve a mission. She was ready and wanted to retire at 63, but was hesitant due to the gap in health insurance coverage between being eligible for Medicare at age 65. Then she learned about the church's Senior Service Medical Plan, which bridged her coverage gap, allowing her to retire at 63 and serve a full-time mission. Now, she is completing her mission and will return home the month before she turns 65. She'll have 30 days of continued coverage after her mission under the Senior Service Medical Plan before transitioning to Medicare. Now, I want to look at an example of a couple wanting to serve a senior mission, but they're unsure if they can afford it because they hear that serving a senior mission can cost them tens of thousands of dollars. We'll use this couple's name as Mr. and Mrs. Smith. So the Smiths, they don't have a mortgage, car payment, or any other kinds of debt. This was a goal of theirs, to be out of debt when retired and as they're thinking about a mission. Their typical budget is about $6,000 a month. This includes vacations, groceries, hobbies, entertainment, insurance, utilities, etc. Everything you'd expect on a normal budget. And so, because they were out of debt, most of this budget went towards discretionary spending, eating out, travel, entertainment, and whatnot. So as the Smiths looked at their budget to understand how much of their $6,000 a month they will need to continue paying for while they are serving a mission, they quickly realized most of their budget goes towards expenses they won't have on their mission. Things like vacations they won't be taking. They won't be buying new clothes or buying new furniture. Entertainment is not going to be as much. They're not going to be eating out. They're not going to be buying new electronics and groceries. And so they realize after taking out all of these expenses, their home obligations while on their mission would be $1,500 a month. This would be for things like maintaining their home insurance, property taxes, and so they can still budget in gifts for their grandkids. The estimated costs for the mission they are going to, according to the church's website, will cost $3,250 a month. So we add their home obligations and monthly mission costs to get $4,750 a month. Because they plan to serve for 24 months, we take that $4,750, multiply it by 24, and you can see the total mission costs will be $114,000 for 2 years. You might be thinking this is a lot of money for a mission. And you're right, this is a lot of money. And the thought of saving up for a mission or setting aside this much of your nest egg can be intimidating. But when you compare it to what you are currently spending at home, it's more affordable than you may think. As we looked on the previous slide, it will cost $114,000 for the Smiths to serve a 24-month mission. Well, let's compare that to how much will it cost them to live their life at home? Well, we take the original monthly budget of $6,000, multiply that by 24 months, and it would cost $144,000 to stay at home at their current lifestyle, meaning the Smiths would save $30,000 by serving a mission. Of course, this isn't the experience for everyone. For some people, there is more of a financial sacrifice to serving a mission. However, when you look at it from a standpoint of what you'll be spending at home versus what you'll be spending while on your mission, not only is it feasible, but serving is often cheaper than staying at home. And this allows you to serve with confidence. That concludes the costs and health insurance portion of our series on financial considerations for a senior mission. Once again, I hope this presentation has been informative so that you can serve your mission with all your heart, might, mind, and strength. Over the next several presentations, we hope to show you how to best prepare financially for a senior mission, with the last presentation of this series being case studies where we bring everything back together. In our next presentation, Alex will talk about investing during your senior mission.